Hi everyone, Mark from Imagination Created. You can find us at imaginationcreated.ca on Facebook, on Instagram, and Twitter. So today we're doing a little video on something that we provide. Our tagline is finding something good in every piece of wood. So when we have leftover stuff, what we do is we try and find new uses for it or put it to use in one other way. So when we have wood trimmings and shavings and such, we decided rather than just throw them away and or let them blow away somewhere in a dump, what we've done is actually reuse them. So we've actually made some fire starters that you can use for a fire pit, your fireplace at home, campfire, anywhere that you would want to build a fire. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to show you how to a quick video on how to build a fire using our fire starters. And we'd also like to introduce Namcor. They are a company. They offer laser services for cutting, etching, and what else do they do? Oh yes, and marking services. And they've actually created this portable fire pit. So it comes apart. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. It all comes apart and goes back together, so you can fold it up and take it with you. It's made out of metal, so it's going to last a long time. And we actually met them not too long ago here in Strathroy, Ontario, at a Friday night market, and they were right across from us. We started talking, and they were nice enough to provide this, number one, for our open house a few weeks ago, which was a great success, and thank you for all of those who did attend. And also they allowed us to hang on to it for a little longer so we could use it to demonstrate our fire starter. So thank you very much to Namcor. We're going to make sure we put a link in the bottom for you to find that. So we don't start fires, we build fires. And a scouting friend of mine, Marty Albert, once told me a long time ago, you don't start fires, you build fires. And that's exactly what we're going to show you today. So here we go. So fires have a few components. They need 3 things. They need oxygen, fuel, and heat. We're going to show you how to get all of those. And we're going to show you how to build a fire so that you're not wasting time trying to get the fire actually going. And there's some steps to it. So we want to start small and work big. So what we got here is the first thing that what we use is what's called tinder. So we have some birch bark here. We have some other bark that I've twisted down. This is what it started as. Great way to, you just pull it off, and if you start twisting it, you're going to be able to get small little fibrous pieces like this, and they're going to start really, really quick. If you're in a situation where there's lots of rain or everything's wet and damp, this birch bark will actually work very, very well even when it's wet. And that's the nice thing, they build birch bark canoes out of it. So that's tinder. The next step you're going to use is your kindling. And we've all heard of that. That's really, really small pieces that are going to catch a little bit faster than larger pieces. So you want to start small, work your way up to the tinder. Or sorry, that's the tinder. This is the kindling. And then once your fire starts to build, then you can put on your larger pieces of fuel. And then of course you can work up to the big ones. And then depending on how big your fire is actually going to be and how long you're going to be there, that's when you can start putting on larger logs. The rule of thumb is if it's bigger than your thigh, it's probably going to take at least 12 to 15 hours to burn down completely. So keep that in mind, especially if you're out camping and you're about to go to bed. Don't throw a big fire on it. You want to always burn wood down to ash if you can. It's better for the environment, doesn't cause any issues, and can always prevent fires from reigniting in case you didn't get it all out. So let's get going. I'm going to show you our fire starters. So we've put them together in here. You get 2 fire starters, which will actually make up to 4 to 8 fires. So what we've done is just take our shavings, as I said, shavings and sawdust. We put them into egg cartons, and we put a little used paraffin wax. Again, why buy new when you can have your friends just gather all the unused candles and wax that they've used maybe for canning, whatever, and then you melt it down in a crock pot. It's the safest way. Never put it on an open flame on a pot. It will actually ignite. So that's what we've done. We've made these guys here. Now the nice thing is, we're going to come down a little bit closer. As I said, you got 2 in there, but you can actually, just by taking a nice sharp knife, you can break these down. A little bit of elbow grease. There's lots of wax in there, which is good because it works the same as a candle. So there you go. We've broken it down to 2. So we're going to use 1. And again, if you're really frugal, you can cut that down again. These are going to work very, very well. So we're going to put these guys off to the side. And when you're in a pinch too, you can always use a piece of the bag to get it going. But the idea is you want to try and avoid the bag if you can, until the fire is actually going, get it in there so it doesn't go floating off. So we have our fire starter ready to go. We have some tinder. I'm going to use this tinder. And what we always want to do is have a couple of those pieces of kindling just on the bottom. You're going to take a couple of these guys and we're going to put them just on the bottom, kind of lay them out there, just like that. Just have something to put them on. Then what we're going to do is we're going to have our kindling, or our tinder really close by. Okay, and this is important. We have a little bit of a breeze going here, so it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. But this is what we're going to do. So a flame source, of course. We have a lighter today. Matches are going to make the most sense, because if you're out in the wilderness, you know, who knows if you're going to, you know, bring a lighter along with you. Always have matches. But we're going to use a lighter today just to make it simple. So safety first. Let's put our knife away. And so what we're going to do here, because there's wax all the way over, all we're going to do is we're going to start by lighting one end. Now the wax is going to start melting, and it's going to actually act very similar to a candle. You can see it's still going. There's a breeze there, so let's see. This will be the test. And as it's starting to go, you can see it's breaking down. And actually you can see how easily you could probably get one more out of that. Let's see. No, I'm not going to try it now. Anyway, so that's going. Whoops, was going. See the wind? Let's get her going again. Nice thing about when you're restarting something that's already gone out, it's actually easier to start, and that's why we want to make sure that we don't have any unburnt logs, because we don't know if they're actually burning on the inside or not. So now that we have this guy going, see how it's taken a long time? The wax is making it burn slow. When you put just plain paper in there, it burns way too fast. It'll blow out fast and may not get you. So now we're going to add our tinder, this nice fibrous stuff. Watch what happens now. So this guy's still going. We're going to add some here, and we're going to get it going a little bit more, and we have to have our kindling ready to go. Watch that. Look at this. Isn't that nice? Now we can take our kindling. Now that we got something going here, we're going to take our kindling, and we're going to, again, start keeping in mind, start small, work up. So the smaller pieces of kindling, you start laying them on top, just like that. Oh, it's 1 o'clock here in Strathroy, Ontario, on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. And there we go. So we got some tinder. Now you watch. This shouldn't take too long. And now see, the kindling has already started. So we have our base. We have our fire starter going. The tinder on top really got it going. Now the kindling is taking off. You want to make sure that it's going before you keep adding stuff. Because remember, we said we need 3 things. We need a heat source, which is the flame or the lighter. We need the fuel, which is the wood, and we need the oxygen, which comes from the air. So if you're putting too much on at one time, you're going to smother it down. You're going to reduce the amount of oxygen. That can actually have the fire go out when you really don't want it to. So that's why we build a fire. We don't start a fire. The fire will start on its own if you give it the right pieces of the recipe, really. So we're going to put a couple more pieces on here, and then of course now we can start moving to some of our bigger pieces. You can see they're now bigger than my thumb, basically. A little bit smaller. That might actually be considered kindling. But as we start to get bigger, we can start putting bigger pieces of wood. You can see that's a little bit bigger, and we just start building. And as that grows, and we're not going to do it today, as it grows, then you can start moving up to your bigger stuff, like these guys. Much bigger than your thumb, but these guys will obviously burn. This one will probably burn for a good maybe an hour or so before it's down to you know, pretty much almost ash. So that's how we build a fire. So again, you get 2 of these guys, you can break them down. Clearly you could see, and the fire starter hasn't even actually gone away, so you could probably get a good 8 starts out of this. And again, we want to make sure that you're always attending to fire. That's one of the things that I forgot to mention at the beginning. Safety first. If you're going to build a fire, know how long you're going to be around that fire. The purpose of the fire, is it just for enjoyment? Is it for cooking? Is it for heat? That's all going to play a factor in how long you want this fire to burn. And again, if you're out camping and you know you're going to go to bed within the next 2 hours, don't put a big log on it. Keep it all to small things so that it can burn out to almost ash. And the best way really to extinguish a fire inside a pit, especially if you're in a camping area, don't put water on it. All that does is it creates charcoal, and charcoal is going to last forever. and you don't want to leave that there for the next person to have to deal with. So burn it all down to ash as much as you can, and then put dirt on top. So there you have it. Thank you, once again, thank you very much to Namcor for providing this wonderful portable fire pit. Sorry?
Stow-N-Go.
Oh, it's a Stow. Yes, that's right. My camera person, the lovely Renee, has informed me. This is a Stow-N-Go fire pit, and you can see. Look at that. From just we had to relight it again just because of the wind. But you can see we started small. We built the fire, and again, if we wanted to, we would start putting larger pieces on. And never ever put as I mentioned earlier, never ever put one that's bigger than your thigh, because you're looking at about 10 to 12 hours on something that big. For sure. So build a fire, burn it as you need it, and then let it dwindle down to almost nothing before you're ready to finish with your fire. I hope that was informative. Some of you who are watching probably have already seen most of this stuff. I have been a scout in Scouts Canada since I was 6 years old. This is something that's a big passion for me. So of course, the fact that we can use some of the stuff that we, in another purpose that we don't use in the shop, is just a wonderful idea. So thank you very much for tuning in. Imaginationcreated.ca is where you'll find us. We have our YouTube channel, which you can get through our website. Of course, as I said, we're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So once again, thanks again, folks. We hope you enjoyed your summer. Oh, sorry, my camera person is saying what?
No, and just,
Oh.
thank you.
And once again, thank you to Namcor for providing this here. And if you get a chance, again, we'll have the link of how you can get in touch with them in the description. You have to pop by. Some of the stuff they do is just absolutely incredible. They do signs, they do plaques, they do pretty much anything. They're a custom laser services company, and they'll be able to look after you for sure. So thanks again, folks. I hope you enjoyed your summer. All the best in the fall and winter. Stay tuned to see what kind of events we have coming up, and of course we have a whole bunch of new projects that we're going to start for this coming year. So thanks again. Have a great day, folks.
Why won't this stop?